in scramble mode to get this class together?
I'm surprised. I figured that was that's the way it's going to be. You know, it's it's going to be a challenge. Number one, you got to build a staff. You know, and then with the early sign-up period, you basically we had a week on the road. You know, with not a full staff, and then of course you got a break, you got a dead period. Then you only have about 3 or 4 weeks to go out here and put together a class. And it is very challenging. I think the schools across the country that had that challenge. We're all in the same boat. You're trying to get on guys late and trying to build relationships in a short period of time. It's a relationship business. There's no question about that. And then you try to sell your program, sell about what you're going to be doing, and then you want to get the right fit. So all those things, having said all those things, our staff did an outstanding job of just really going out and working their tails off and trying to find the kind of players we'll be proud of here. And so we felt, obviously you can always do better. I don't care what kind of class we sign, I feel like we'll always be able to do better. So that's what we're striving to do as we head forward. And it's not over for us. We're going to still obviously recruit and look for players. And, if there's guys out there that we feel will help us, and we'll continue to try to bring them in.
How has the transfer portal and grad transfers in general changed the recruiting process?
Yeah, it's really changed it a lot. I think as you look at basketball, how the transfer thing in basketball has escalated, and now we're heading in that direction for football. And if the rules don't change, it's going to continue to grow more and more and more. And then you're going to be looking at guys, depending on what level it may be. You're going to be looking at, really the rich going to get richer. Is what's going to end up happening. And particularly if these guys are able to transfer, not being a grad transfer, I'm talking about the other ones that transfer, they're able to play right away. And they're trying to make this happen, some of these players and these staffs. And really the NCAA is looking at this as well, and how many have they really just shut down? I mean, those are the things, if we do that, we're going to open up a can of worms. And, so what you'd like to see happen is a guy signs in a school and he plays his ball at that school, and that's where he finishes out. I mean, that's where you love for it to happen. I know there are extenuating circumstances, and guys are going to be able, they should be able to leave it if that happens. But you don't want to get to a point where guys are transferring every year and you're having open up this can of worms. We don't want that to happen.
Scott, you talked about the offensive line and how important it was. 2 of the guys that you signed to play center. Was that a position of need that you thought? And then maybe expand a little on McCoy. I mean, he has SEC experience there.
Yeah, well, that guy touches the ball every play. And so, you got to have a guy that can snap the football. That's number one. And you want to have several guys at that position. You get a guy dinged up at the center position and you don't have any depth right there. Now you're trying to cross-train a guy that really hadn't played much center. And so we want to be able to have, at least 3 guys that we feel comfortable about going in there and playing center. Obviously McCoy's played a lot of football, and that gives you some depth. If he can come in and help us there, that'd be great. Cole Bentley's been the starter here. He's been a good player. So, but you want to have enough guys. I mean, it's not like it's the same thing as the quarterback position. I think we got 3 quarterbacks on scholarship. I like to have 5. Because you better have a quarterback. If the guy goes down, you better have the next one, and so on and so forth. So. It's not a knock on our players here. It's about having enough depth, quality depth, guys that can come in and help you win championships. I mean, so we're going to continue to be able to do that. But center is obviously an important position for us. I think we need to have some help there, but quite frankly, we need help at all positions on the offensive line. Tackles are always to me, the offensive tackles are the hardest players to find every year for every team, and so obviously we're always going to be looking for tackles as well.
How did you balance the need for guys to fill spots right away, like tight end and quarterback, with the thought of you'd like to get a high school recruit that you can develop with the program? How do you balance that?
Well, if there's a really good high school player out there that we can get, at this late stage, you're going to try to get them. And then obviously the grad transfer helps you immediately because they've played. So you're bringing some experience in. They're still going to have to learn your system and learn, what you want them to do. But they got that experience of playing football in McCoy's case, in the SEC, and so that's part of it. But I think it's really what's available. I think at the late stage that we're in, it's what's available. The best we can get to come in here and help us that we feel will be able to help us, and I think that's what it came down to.
What's the brand been like? Not just for 2019, but as you start getting into 2020, how's the Louisville brand been accepted?
It's been great. Our guys have been out and about. It's been great reception for our staff to get out and talk to high school coaches, and these high school coaches, they know what's going on. They know what was happened last year here, and they know where we're at this year, and they know a lot of the. We're recruiting a lot of the same areas that our staff's been recruiting in to begin with, so they know a lot of the guys, and so the response has been awesome. particularly moving forward, I think, for the guys that are 2020, 2021, about getting them up there. Coach, we're going to send these players up there to come see you guys. And I think that's what it's all about. I think for them to be able to go out, they've been very receptive for us and our staff and the Louisville brand. What this program's done in the past, I mean, it's been awesome. I mean, you think about some of the guys that they put in the NFL here, it's been tremendous. And so guys know that they come here, they got an opportunity to play at a high level and then pursue that dream to play at the next level as well. So, for us, it's just about getting out there and getting them on campus, getting around us, and to know that they're going to be a part of a great program. On
that note, how nice is it when Lamar Jackson stops by and some of the other pros?
No, it's been awesome. It's for them, those guys to stop by here, and I want to embrace those guys. They helped build this place. They helped build this building and this stadium and all that. And they've been awesome to be around. They have so much pride, as they should, in the program. And I welcome them with open arms to come back and really be involved in the program. We want them to be involved. They're awesome. But Lamar, for the first time, he walks in our staff room. Hey, coaches, what's going on? As if he knew us. I never met him. So he was awesome. It's great to be around, and I just think that you have to utilize them, and we have to utilize everybody that's a part of this program to help us continue to elevate the program.
You mentioned Boykin would be good in this scheme. What is it about your scheme that fits what he does?
Yeah, his quickness. Because up front, our defensive line, we're gonna move those guys a lot. We don't ask those guys to come take on an offensive tackle or a guard straight up and try to push them back. We're gonna slant, angle, move the guys a lot. So his quickness, his balance, his ability to use his hands and to create havoc up front is going to free up linebackers, but also he's going to be able to make plays. I think more than anything, like what we want to try to recruit is speed and quickness, and that's at every position. As you look at our offensive line, I mean, obviously the same thing. We want those guys to be able to move. We don't want guys that can't move. I think this is a game of speed, and you want to have speed at all positions. The faster our team from top to bottom is, the better we'll be as a football team. Now, obviously, you want length. We got to get length and strength and all those things as well. But the quickness and the speed, I think, is where you really can show how good you can be. If you go back and just look at some of the best players, they can all run at all positions.
Coach, in the midst of recruiting, have you even had time to get a spring practice schedule together?
We do. We have the spring practice schedule together. We're starting next Monday, and so we're looking forward to getting out and getting with our guys. It is early, but we've got a great plan with that. Getting our practice done, we'll be finished before spring break, and we talked about this, having a spring event for our football March 7th on that Thursday. Open that up, to everybody, and it'll be a heavy scrimmage that day. We'll play football, and so everybody will get to kind of see where we are. That's the 15th practice, and that'll give us 15 days at least to implement some offensive, defensive kicking, and see where we're at, and see what kind of football team we may have moving forward.
With linebacker, you signed 4 guys. How different in the scheme? More important, linebacker obviously will use more of them on the field, but you need to build some depth there as well. There's not a lot inside.
No, that's right. Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, inside those guys. Again, all 4 spots need to be able to run, but inside you need to have a little bit more size inside there. We would like to have those guys 235, 240, somewhere in that range on the inside part of those linebackers, what we call Mike and Will, and allow those guys to run and make plays. And again, we've got a couple guys that have played at a high level last year, but we've got to get more depth there and play more guys. And then as you look at the outside linebackers, we're asking them to do some different things at the outside backer. Whether it be rush the passer, drop in coverage, they're going to have to be able to do both. So you want those guys a little bit more agile and a little bit more ability to be able to do both things.
You mentioned still going out and searching for more players, graduate transfers, or whoever is still looking for a spot. Is it fair to, obviously attrition happens, do you have a personal approach for how you deal with that reality as the off season goes along with guys making room for spots?
Yeah, I think, overall, every team throughout the country will have some attrition. It just happens, for whatever reason. We all don't want to think the negative things that may happen with attrition, but in reality, you're going to have, on average, 3 to 4, 5 on average, and so you kind of account for that a little bit because you don't want to go into next fall and sitting there with 78 players on scholarship, when you can have 85. So I think recruiting, and it never stops. As we look toward 2020 the class in 2021, we're still looking at 2019, in case something does happen. And as all these college football teams go through spring practice, there'll be some guys right there when they come out of spring, maybe their scheme changed or whatever, they don't fit there, whatever it may be. They may be looking to go somewhere. There'll be some other guys that'll graduate in May that'll be able to go somewhere. So we'll continue to keep our eyes open for guys. It may happen, it may not. We'll see. We'll see where that is down the road.
You mentioned start of spring practice on Monday. You mentioned some of you want more this position, less this position, whatever it may be. It seems like one way to do that is you can move around guys currently on the team. Do you have an approach for how you do that, whether it's a defensive lineman or a linebacker, or tweaking guys' positions?
Well, we just got to get around them. We got to get around our guys, and that will happen. There'll be some guys that'll move, from a linebacker to a DN spot, or a D lineman may move to a tight end or an O-line spot. So those things could potentially happen. A corner may go to safety, or and it'll happen every year, and we just want to put those guys in the best spot to make plays, not only for them, but also for our football team. And, you have to have buy-in from these guys. So some guys think, I'm this and not that. But, if you can kind of convince them, hey, you may be this, you may can make some money if you move to this spot right here. They may want to do it then, So you got to find ways to try to see where these guys will go. I think ultimately players want to play. They want to play. So if they're in a position where they're not really playing as much, but if I can move here, I can get on that field, then move me, coach. That's what I want to do. And so ultimately that's what we want to do. So and it's hard to say right now because we haven't been around them. As we get around them, we'll start, seeing where these guys are best fit for our schemes.
Scott, when we talked to the guys a couple weeks ago, a couple of them, when we were here watching them work out, they talked about the culture, and I know you talked a lot about it. How do you feel like it's gone so far? And then the competition that they've had in the weight room so far.
Yeah. Well, from the first week till this week, it's tremendous improvement. The first week was tough, but all that does, and it'll continue to get better and better as we move forward. We're going to create teams within our team. We'll put more of that out there. That's going to be really neat. These guys are going to really like that. And really, what we've seen from the first week of workouts in January to right now, they've made tremendous strides, and they'll continue to do that. I think for them, they're anxious to get on the field and play some football now, and so we'll do that, for the next 5 weeks. And then when they get back from spring break, then it's, they're going back to training. 7 weeks of running and lifting and competing in everything that we do, and slowly but surely, that competitive culture that we're creating will come to fruition, and so it's not happening overnight. We talked about that before. It'll take a while, but the guys are really loving what we're doing right now. We're creating some leaders within the team, and we'll put more of that stuff out as we move forward with that.
You've mentioned trying to fill the numbers at certain spots, offensive line, linebackers. On that note, how much do you expect these new guys to impact right away?
Well, we'll see when they get here.
Yeah.
It's I tell all freshmen that are coming in, particularly grad transfers, we want them to impact immediately. But with the freshmen coming in, we tell them, hey, come in to compete right away, as if you're going to be the starter. That needs to be your mindset when you get here, and if you're not, then we'll figure that part out. But you need to have that mindset of working your tail off. When you get here, you're competing for a starting job. I believe in competition. This is at every position. So if a guy's been a 2-year starter, a 3-year starter, you're still competing for your job. And somebody's trying to come in here, they're trying to get that job. I just think that just makes everybody better. And it's not a thing where, you're downgrading your teammate. No, you're just competing. We're competing in everything that we do. So these guys, I hope some of these guys can come in and help us play. I really do. That's the reason why we're recruiting.
What's the guys on this team, how much going into spring practice did you try to educate yourself about those people, or as opposed to keeping an open mind and clean slate and that sort of thing?
Yeah, that was the first thing we told them, is that it's a clean slate, guys. I don't know, maybe you didn't work as hard before. We don't know that. Wipe that clean. Come out here, bust your tail in everything that you do, and you're going to get an opportunity. So for us, we got an open mind. We want to come in here and say, see what these guys can do and see how they compete, and who really wants it, who wants this particular spot, and all that. And the guys have really done a great job with that. Today was our day off, but our whole team, except for 5 players, showed up on their day off today. That's pretty impressive. You talk about culture. That wasn't happening before. The day's their day off, and they're in the weight room trying to get extra work, or in the tubs, or in the training room stretching, or whatever they're doing, trying to help their bodies. And they didn't have to be here. That's a good sign.
with all the recruiting you had to do, how much time did you spend looking at, the players you've got, that you inherited,
Yeah,
so to
yeah,
speak?
I've not spent a lot of time. And, you know, we've tried to, our staff have looked at, obviously, at their position, they're looked at their guys. But overall, we have not spent a lot of time with that. Our strength staff has been with our guys, you know, the last 3 weeks and put a lot of time with those guys, and they've seen tremendous strides over 3 weeks, but we have not. That's why we're anxious. I think that's another positive to go ahead and start next week for us. We can get with these guys, you know, for the next 5 weeks.
Last question, Howie.
6 from Georgia, 4 from Florida. What are recruiting hotbeds for you guys in the future, and how were you received early on in those hotbeds?
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, you know, obviously Georgia and Florida have really good high school football, but we, you know, we've already been in Kentucky as much as we can the last several weeks. You know, the one Friday we sent every bit of our staff here in the state of Kentucky, so we're going to obviously recruit Kentucky. Ohio needs to be a priority for us. It's not very far away, and they've got really good high school football. We know down in the southeast, we're going to recruit that, obviously, with Georgia and Florida. We got connections in the Carolinas. We'll be, you know, dipping in there. Alabama's been really good for us. You know, I think, you know, those are kind of going to be our states. You know, as you look at Ohio, we'll get up into Indianapolis, you know, as well. We'll send coaches to Chicago, St. Louis. You know, we're obviously, we're trying to find where the players are and get them down here. I think the biggest thing to do is identify the players, and then try to get them down here to get around our staff and to get around our people within this building. And we'll get the right kind of players to come here, and we're really looking forward to that, really excited about doing that.
Our coaches our assistant coaches are in the back too, if you guys want to spend some time